Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be explaining about Ellingham diagrams and the different thermodynamic concepts related to it and how we can use Ellingham diagrams in depicting which reducing agent can be used to reduce the respective metal oxides. So all this application part as well as how to identify the different aspects which is including the thermodynamic aspects I'll be explaining in this video. So first, before going on to the Ellingham diagrams, let me just tell you something about the basics that are involved. So a general chemistry reaction will involve the reactants which will react to give products. So here we have to see only the number of moles of gaseous reactants and gaseous products. So now what we have to do is we have to consider the reactants and the products which are only in the gaseous state, because only the gaseous state reactants and products are bringing about changes in entropy, whereas the solids or the liquids will not involve much with the change in entropy. So now let me just explain the different cases where the number of moles of the reactants and number of moles of products will bring about change in the value of entropy, which will again bring in changes with delta G as well as delta H values. So now let us consider the number of moles of gaseous reactants. I'll take it as NR, that is the R for reactants, and number of moles of gaseous products, let me take it as NP. So P for products. Okay. So now let me take a simple reaction. Okay. So here 2 moles of the metal will react with oxygen gas to give 2 moles of the metal oxide. So in the reactant side, this oxygen is in the gaseous state and the number of moles of oxygen is 1. Whereas in the product side, there is no gaseous compound at all. So here what happens is the number of moles of the gaseous reactant is more because it is 1, whereas in the product side it is 0. So NR is equal to 1, NP is equal to 0. That means the number of moles of the gaseous compounds is decreasing during the reaction. So, if the number of moles of gaseous compound is decreasing, that means entropy is also decreasing. Because you know that the gaseous compounds will have much of randomness because the molecules are free to move. So, because of their freeness of movement, there will be entropy in these compounds. But if gaseous compounds are only less, then we can tell that the entropy is also less. So here, since in the product side, the gaseous compound is completely absent, we can say that entropy in this reaction is decreasing. Same way, here we can tell delta S, that is change in entropy, is negative because entropy is decreasing during the reaction. Next case, let me take one more example. Here 2 moles of carbon, which is in the solid state, is reacting with 1 mole of oxygen, which is in the gaseous state, to give 2 moles of carbon monoxide, which is in the gaseous state. So here again we are only concerned with the gaseous reactant and gaseous product. So in the reactant side there is 1 mole of oxygen. So 1 mole of the gaseous compound. Whereas in the product side there are 2 moles of gaseous compound. So the number of moles of the products, that is the gaseous product, is more when compared to that of the reactants. So as the number of moles of gases have been increased, we say that entropy is also increasing, or in other words delta S is positive. There is one more case where the number of gaseous reactants as well as products will be equal. Then we say that delta S is equal to 0. So here there will be no change in entropy. Suppose if the number of gaseous reactant is also 1 and the number of gaseous product is also 1, then there is no change in entropy. So delta S is equal to 0. So now if delta S changes, obviously there will be change in delta G value. So let us just go through this equation, the Gibbs free energy equation, and then let us see if delta S changes, what will be the change in delta G. So this equation you already know. Delta G represents change in the free energy, whereas delta H is the change in enthalpy, whereas delta S is the change in entropy, and T is the absolute temperature. So now let us see the first case. If delta S is negative, we substitute the negative value of delta S in this equation. So minus into minus will become plus. That means the overall value of delta G will increase if delta S is negative. So we have the equation delta G is equal to delta H minus T into minus delta S. So minus into minus will give plus. So that means the overall free energy change increases because the delta S value is negative. So delta G becomes more and more positive. Same way, suppose if delta S is positive, then here we substitute the value of delta S is positive. So minus into plus will give you minus. So that means the overall value of delta G will become less. So we substitute this value of delta S in this equation. So the overall value of delta G becomes more and more negative. So finally, if delta S is 0, so we substitute this 0 value in this equation, the free energy equation. So this entire term becomes 0. So what happens? Delta G becomes equal to delta H, or in other words, delta G becomes independent of temperature. Yeah. So let us now just consider the Ellingham diagrams and what are the possible applications of Ellingham diagrams. Okay, so this is just a general representation of the Ellingham diagram. So here we can see what are Ellingham diagrams. So Ellingham diagrams are nothing but these are plots of free energy change. This delta G what you can see, that is the change in free energy versus temperature. Temperature is taken along the x-axis. And we are always considering the reactions which involve oxidation of elements. Okay, or the products in all these reactions are oxides of elements. Here you can see silicon oxide, here also silica, aluminium oxide, calcium oxide, carbon monoxide and chromium oxide. So here we consider only the oxidation of reactions and the products are oxides of elements. And the reaction is considered in such a way that the reaction involves 1 mole of oxygen in all these cases so that a uniformity is maintained. Upon that, the atmospheric pressure is taken as the pressure of this reactions so that a uniform condition is maintained in all these reactions. So here what we can do is the possible applications of Ellingham diagrams. Mainly we use it to select suitable reducing agents for the metal oxides. It can also be used to determine whether a particular reaction can take place according to thermodynamic conditions. Next, we can also say that a particular reaction is feasible. Feasible means it can take place only if delta G for that reaction is negative. If it is positive, then we can say that thermodynamically that reaction is not feasible. Okay, so we need to apply some external factors in order to make that reaction to undergo. Otherwise, it is not feasible. Okay, yeah. So next coming on to the salient features of Ellingham diagrams. So Ellingham diagrams of oxides are being given here. Okay, so here what we can see is all these reactions indicate this general reaction. Metal plus oxygen gives metal oxide in the solid state. So here we can see metal which is in the solid state reacts with 1 mole of oxygen which is in the gaseous state to give metal oxide in the solid state. This I have discussed in the previous slides itself, that is in the first case of entropy change. So here we can see the number of moles of the gaseous reactant is more when compared to the number of moles of gaseous product, because in the product side there is no gaseous compound at all. So the entropy decreases or delta S becomes negative. You know that as delta S becomes negative, delta G becomes more and more positive. So for all these oxide formation, what you can see here, and I have highlighted these oxide formation with the blue color. So we can see that as the entropy becomes more and more negative, the delta G value becomes more and more positive. That's why these lines will slope upwards, because delta G is increasing with temperature. You know that along the y-axis we are taking delta G. So since delta S is becoming negative, delta G becomes more and more positive. Coming on to the second case. So here, let us consider this equation. C plus O2 gives CO2. Here, oxygen is in the gaseous state. CO2, that is carbon dioxide, is in the gaseous state. According to the balanced chemical equation, we can see that 1 mole of oxygen reacts with 1 mole of carbon dioxide. So in both the sides it is 1 mole and 1 mole. So 1 mole of gaseous reactant reacting to give 1 mole of gaseous product. So here what happens? The number of moles of the gaseous reactant and product is equal. So there is no change in entropy, or in other words, delta S is equal to 0. So if you substitute this value of 0 in this free energy equation, we can see that delta G is equal to delta H. So we know that delta G is equal to delta H. So there is no term with the temperature, or in other words, delta G is independent of temperature. So we get a straight line which is parallel to the x-axis, because delta G is constant with respect to temperature, so it does not change with the change in temperature. Next, coming on to the third case, where carbon, which is in the solid state, reacts with oxygen to give carbon monoxide. So oxygen is in the gaseous state and carbon monoxide is in the gaseous state. We can see in the balanced chemical equation that 1 mole of oxygen reacts to give 2 moles of carbon monoxide. So there is 1 mole of gaseous reactant and 2 moles of gaseous products. Or in other words, during the reaction, in the product side, the number of moles of gases are increasing. Or in other words, entropy increases. If entropy increases, what happens to delta G? Delta G decreases. So we can see in this graph that this line slopes downwards, because here in this reaction, entropy is increasing and hence delta G is decreasing. So here we can see one more salient feature of Ellingham diagram. So here, in some cases, like for calcium or carbon, this for zinc to form zinc oxide, or magnesium forming magnesium oxide, we can see that the slope is not continuous. There is some change in the slope. So why there is a change in the slope? Okay. So here we can see, you can see these 2 points, right? When you can see here at the melting point, the entropy change is very less. Okay, melting point means when the oxide, which is in the solid state, gets converted to liquid. So here what happens, from solid to liquid, of course the molecules will have more they are more free to move, but what happens is the entropy change is not much high. But when the liquid becomes gas, what happens? The molecules are very free to move. They are not bound by anything. So the entropy change will be very high. So here you can see this triangle, whatever I have represented, that is the melting point of that oxide. Okay, now here I have highlighted for calcium oxide. So this triangle indicates the melting point of calcium oxide. So at this point, the entropy change is not high. Whereas whatever you can see the circle, okay, at this point the entropy change is very high. What happens is when the liquid becomes gaseous vapors, they escape from that system. So because of escaping from the system, what happens is after the liquid becomes converted into gaseous state, since the vapors escape, the entropy decreases gradually. So because of the decrease in entropy, the delta G value will increase suddenly. So because of the sudden increase, we can see that there is a sudden change in the slope. Okay, for this line, that is for calcium oxide and for magnesium oxide. So these are the examples in which there is a sudden change in the slope because of change in because of liquefaction, as well as because of the boiling point, that is because the liquid is getting converted into the gaseous form. Yeah. So next is we can see here in these two cases, whichever I have highlighted here, for the formation of silver oxide and for the formation of mercuric oxide. So here we can see this, if you see this delta G values, here these two lines will cross the value for zero value of delta G at very low temperatures itself. If you just see the x-axis, at lower temperatures itself, they will cross the zero line, zero free energy line. You know that a particular oxide will be stable if the delta G value is more and more negative. Now here what happens, it is crossing the zero line and the delta G value is becoming positive for these two oxides at a very low temperature itself, for these two oxides. So we can say that since the delta G for these oxides become positive at very low temperatures itself, these oxides are thermally unstable. So if you heat these oxides, what happens is they will decompose easily and they will give, for example, if you decompose this silver oxide, it will decompose very easily at very low temperatures itself to give silver and oxygen. So what happens? Since at low temperatures itself they cross the zero line for delta G, so at when you heat them or when you treat it to high temperatures, they decompose easily to give the respective elements. Okay, so these were the different types, these are the different salient features of Ellingham diagrams which I wanted to discuss with you all in this video. So the applications of Ellingham diagrams and the use of different reducing agents in order to reduce the metal oxides, and how do we select these reducing agents, I'll be explaining all these points in my next video. Thank you for watching the video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe and like this video if you have liked it, and share this to whoever you think it is needful. Thank you.